Hello everybody, I am back and doing another review, and today I'm going to be reviewing a Transformer I got just yesterday, and it's one I really wanted a whole lot. The Transformers Fall of Cybertron Deluxe Optimus Prime. Now, I really wanted this Transformer. I really wanted an Optimus Prime to add to my collection. I already had an Optimus Prime, but it was a Cyberverse size one, which, and if you know a lot about Transformers, Cyberverse is the smallest kind of Transformer. It's the Matchbox size Transformer. I would have wanted an Optimus Prime of a deluxe size at least, which this guy is, and I would have liked it if it would either A, come from the movie trilogy, obviously, or if he came from War for Cybertron / Fall of Cybertron, and which he also does. So yeah, I finally have a true Optimus Prime to add to my collection. Now, he comes with several accessories. Here's his tech specs that I cut off of his box. Here's his gun, instructions, and Optimus himself in his vehicle mode. Now, let's go over the tech specs first. In his tech specs, you have they're upside down. Alright, a lot of things are really high, obviously, because he's Optimus Prime, the leader of the Autobots. You'll have a strength of 10, an intelligence of 8. A speed of 7, well, obviously he probably does have a speed of 7 because he's a bulky figure. I mean, endurance of 10, rank of 10, obviously, courage of 10. Again, obviously, he has a courage and rank of 10, but he has a fire blast of 9 and a skill of 8. Yeah. Alright, so yeah, so those are the tech specs. And here's the instructions. They're smaller than that of the other Transformers because his transformation is really easy. But anyway, here you have him. It says Transformers Generations, Optimus Prime Fall of Cybertron, and there's the Autobot logo. Level 2 for transformation because that's what deluxe size figures are. You have Optimus's vehicle and robot mode. Ages 5 and up, and again, no one cares about the age restrictions. Some parts made to detach, blah blah blah, no one cares. Now, anyway, this is how you change him from vehicle to robot. Everything's in red because he's an Autobot, not a Decepticon, whereas it would be purple. And here's his robot mode. Turn it around, and it's the reverse transformation for the vehicle mode. And this is the vehicle mode right here. And here it shows you how you can put in his blaster. In his vehicle mode, you can peg it on the back. In the robot mode, you can put it in his hand, or you can also put it on his shoulder. And again, you have retained instructions for future reference. Product and colors may vary. Some poses may require their hard support. Manufactured under license of Tommy Company Ltd. Copyright 2012 Hasbro, all rights reserved. TM and R of Donate US trademarks. And here's the pin number here. I have no idea why I read the pin numbers, but I will anyway. It's 727603000. I have no idea why I read the pin number. I just decided to do. But anyway, transformers.com/instructions if you ever lose these. Plus, you can always just watch a review on him, and they'll tell you how to transform him. Anyway, this is his blaster. It looks kind of like a rifle, that the military uses. This is the way he holds it in his robot mode, and this is the way he holds it in his vehicle mode. This peg here is for you use for the robot mode, and this one's for the vehicle mode. But anyway, let's get on to Optimus Prime himself. And obviously I start out with the vehicle mode, and like I said, here's his blaster, and where it pegs in is that there's two holes right here that you can peg this peg into. The problem is that it's not exactly in the center, so it kind of bothers me that it's not symmetrical. You can peg it into either hole. It doesn't matter, but you have to use that. You can't use this peg simply because it won't fit. This peg is meant for the robot mode, not for the vehicle mode. But anyway, when he rolls, rolls pretty good. However, this is like this blanket that I'm using to film my review is pretty much affecting how the wheel rolls. If you put them on a smooth surface, sometimes the center wheels won't turn. Sometimes they're a little bit too high off the ground. Optimus even said that in his review, but since this is the blanket surface, all three of the wheels will turn. And most people, including Optimus, prefer the War for Cybertron Optimus Prime. I have to admit, the War for Cybertron Optimus Prime, even though that it's bigger and has a more complex transformation, I do kind of like how it's more accurate, because the thing is, in the War for Cybertron Optimus is that he is more detailed and his wheels are on his back. I'll get more to that in the robot mode. But one thing about the War for Cybertron Optimus that is outfitted by the fall of Cybertron Optimus is the wheels. On the War for Cybertron Optimus is that the wheels look pretty much like that of an Earth vehicle, whereas in this Optimus Prime they look a lot more Cybertronian-like. If they would have just... But they could have done that to the War for Cybertron Optimus, but I don't know. But these wheels just look more Cybertronian-like. They just fit the Cybertronian futuristic truck mode better. Now, another thing about the War for Cybertron Optimus is that a lot of people like him because he is, in his vehicle mode, he's more sleek, whereas this guy is a lot more blocky. You can obviously see more of the robot mode in his vehicle mode. But the War for Cybertron Optimus is much more sleek and less blocky than this guy. Like, you can obviously see the robot mode here and here. It's stuff like that. But still it looks okay. I mean, this is Optimus Prime you're talking about. It's a must-have. Optimus Prime is a must-have for any Transformers collector, Transformers fan, because I mean he's appeared in every single franchise and he's pretty much the leader of the Autobots. But anyway, yeah, looks pretty good. You have the Autobot logos on his shoulders, which appear in several franchises. So yeah, it looks pretty good. Now one more thing is that the blaster pegs into other places too, but in his robot mode. But anyway, to transform him, what you want to do is take the legs, they untab and they fold down. And now what you want to do is this blue part here, you rotate it down like so. And now the feet, they don't tab anywhere, but they do kind of click. You take it off and rotate it back, and then separate the legs. And here you have his legs transformed. The transformation here is actually quite easy, but I mean, if you're a new fan, it's recommended that you get this guy so you'll have an Optimus Prime and an easy transformer to transform. But anyway, back to the review. Transform the top side. You take these bumpers and you separate them, and they come out of their sockets, and you rotate them, and they just set here on the bottom. They don't tab into anything, but just set here and look for decoration. Now what you want to do is the wheels, they untab and just leave them like that. And now this is a little bit of a tricky part, but I have better fingernails than most other boys, so this should be easier. This part here, you get this part out, flip it up, and kind of tabs in there, and here you have his head, and it flips the arms up too. Now what you want to do is rotate the wheels around so that the wheels are on the inside, and rotate the elbows down, and flip the fists 180 degrees so that they're flipped the right way. Alright, now what you want to do is you stand him up, and if you would like, you can put in his weapon. And here you have Optimus in his robot mode. Now I quite like his robot mode. It's very accurate, and like I said, there are a few problems that the War for Cybertron Optimus doesn't have, The one is being the wheels. Is that on the Fall of Cybertron, the game, the front wheels, when he transforms into his robot mode, are on his back right here. They're not on his forearms. But with the War for Cybertron Optimus Prime, the wheels are on his back. They're not in his forearms. But they did fix that a little bit, because you can kind of see that the wheels were molded in right there, molded in a pattern. And one other thing I forgot to transform is that these smokestacks, you are supposed to flip down like this. And yeah, that's one thing I forgot to transform. But anyway, back to the review. For posability, you have posability at the ankle, which Transformers usually don't have. And you have posability at the knee, posability at the hip, and it rotates. You can even rotate it 180 degrees if you would like. Alright, it's cool. You have the fist can rotate, but it can't, like, it's not on a ball joint or anything, but it can rotate. It bends at the elbow, bends at the shoulder on both arms, which is good. And now the head is on a ball joint, but it's on a very stiff ball joint. So moving it is a little bit hard, but it can bend up and down, but it can move. But it's a little bit hard. Now as far as the head goes, alright, you see the head is very accurate. You obviously see it's very Cybertronian-like and very typical for Optimus Prime. You have his trademarked mouth guard, his trademarked like wings on his helmet, his crest, everything. I mean, this Optimus Prime is pretty good. On the back of his head, there's really nothing though. But anyway, back to his weapon. Is that he only comes with this blaster, which he carries most of the time in the Fall of Cybertron, the game. He carries his blaster most of the time, but in the last level where you have to fight Megatron, or you can fight Optimus, you can pick either Optimus or Megatron, that he doesn't use a gun, he uses a sword. And ironically, there is another figure, it's Ultra Magnus, who's also a Fall of Cybertron figure. Basically, he's just a recolor of Optimus, only with a different head. So it's just different colors and different head. And he comes with the same blaster that Optimus does, but he also comes with the sword that Optimus used to fight Megatron. So, yeah, I do want Ultra Magnus too, even though he's pretty much the same thing as Optimus Prime, only different colors and head sculpt. But I mean, I really wish Optimus did come with that sword, because I don't think Ultra Magnus even ever had the sword in the game. I haven't gotten far enough in the game. I don't even know if he even plays Ultra Magnus, or if he is in the game. I'm not far enough in the game yet. But the thing is that Optimus does use the same sword that Ultra Magnus comes with. And I don't even know if Ultra Magnus is in the game or not. But I don't know. Answer those questions in the comments, because Ultra Magnus, I do know he comes with that sword that Optimus used to fight Megatron, but the Optimus toy doesn't, but Ultra Magnus does. So if you want to so having Ultra Magnus and Optimus could, or just simply being able to find the separate sword and buying it online, you could get that sword. And if you have Megatron, I think Megatron does come with his sword, I don't know, you can have a stop motion fight between them. After eons of conflict, I finally see the truth in your words, Megatron. This universe, no matter how vast, will never be big enough for you and I to coexist. Well, that's Optimus's famous quote right before he's about to battle Megatron. And if you're wondering how I know all this stuff about Fall of Cybertron, yet I didn't get that far in the game, it's simply because I went on YouTube and watched the final battle between Optimus and Megatron. I guess you also can play as Megatron in the final battle and fight Optimus, but most people do play as Optimus and fight Megatron. So far, only seen one person that I know of play as Megatron, but he also played as Optimus. He made 2 separate videos, one playing as Optimus, the other playing as Megatron. But most people do play as Optimus in the final battle. And the final battle is a lot harder simply because you have to use a sword, not a gun. But anyway, he's pretty cool. And like I said, like I showed you in the instructions, you can peg his blaster in other places. Like, there is this hole back here where you can peg his blaster in, but you have to use the vehicle mode peg, not the robot mode one. And it pegs in right here, and this obviously looks ugly. It doesn't look good at all. But you can also, what you can do is flip one of the smokestacks up like this, and it pegs, and it would peg into the largest smokestack here. But again, that doesn't really, now that I see it, that doesn't really look that good either. It looks best when it's in his hand. Another thing you can do is it's supposed to be like this, but you can also flip it around like this. And so, just like a Earth gun, like a gun from Earth, you have this part down here, whereas it kind of looks more accurate to an Earth gun when it's flipped like this. The only problem is that Optimus is holding it by the top here, and that just doesn't look right. But this is the accurate way to put his gun. That's pretty much the robot mode. Now, to transform him back, what you want to do is, obviously the first thing you always want to do before you transform him is remove the weapon if he's holding it. Now what you want to do is, this part, untab this back part, push it down, and it flips the head in and moves the arms back. Now what you want to do is flip the smokestacks up, flip the arms around, flip the fists around, and now these parts rotate in, and what they do is there's tabs here, there's a tab here, and there's tab holes here, and this part, it makes sure the head doesn't flip back up when you're doing this, but it tabs in right there. And now do the same for the other arm. Alright, now what you want to do is flip these bumpers around, and they kind of tab in right here, and then there's a tab in the center of them, and they're supposed to come together. Alright, and here you have the front half of them transformed. Now come down to the legs. They push them together. They have 2 tabs, and they tab together. Take the feet and take them and slide them up like this. And now this whole part, the bottom part of his legs, which is the blue part, flips up like this. And yes, sometimes his legs can come undone. And now what you want to do is flip this whole part up, and there's 2 tabs here, and there's tab holes here and here, and they're supposed to tab in there, but it's kind of hard. It's a little bit hard, but right. Just kind of give it a push. Obviously don't force anything, you don't want to break him, but alright. Once you think it's good and tabbed in, here you have him in his vehicle mode once again, and you can put in his weapon if you would like. But anyway, I really do like this figure. I really do recommend him. Another thing that he betters in than the War for Cybertron Optimus Prime is the color scheme. The color scheme on him is a lot more brighter and more vibrant, whereas on the War for Cybertron Optimus Prime, it's a lot duller. But still, the War for Cybertron Optimus Prime, everyone says is better, but this Optimus Prime is good too. I mean, it's Optimus Prime. You gotta have Optimus Prime somewhere in your collection, people. And plus, it's a deluxe size figure. I mean, it's obviously not a Cyberverse figure where it's like it's the size of a Matchbox car. So yeah, I usually prefer getting a Transformer that's a deluxe sized at least. And yeah, like I said, I had another Optimus Prime from Dark of the Moon, but it's a Cyberverse sized one, which I'm not too proud of. But this Optimus Prime is much better. I really do like this Optimus Prime more than my Cyberverse Optimus Prime. I mean, like I said, I would have preferred getting an Optimus Prime either A, that was from the movie, one of the movies, the live action movies, or B, from War for Cybertron / Fall of Cybertron, which I did. That was fulfilled. I would have liked it to have it deluxe sized at least. Again, that's what I got. So yeah, I'm happy with this. I'm finally get to add a real Optimus Prime to my collection. And yeah, so now I'm going to rate him. I rate both his vehicle and his robot mode. I'm going to rate his vehicle mode. I'm going to rate his vehicle mode an 8 out of 10. The vehicle mode is definitely good. The only problem is simply that it doesn't really look that vehicle-y. You can obviously see where the robot mode is on his vehicle mode. That's the problem that everyone has, including Optimus. You can obviously see that he's a Transformer. But anyway, for his robot mode, I rate a 9 out of 10. The robot mode, I definitely like too. It's definitely good. But my problem with the robot mode is the fact that there's some differences between the robot mode and Optimus from Fall of Cybertron. Main thing being is that the wheels are on his forearms instead of on his back. Again, the War for Cybertron Optimus Prime fixes that, but Fall of Cybertron Optimus doesn't. But anyway, I quite like him. I rate him an 8 out of 10. I rate him an 8 out of 10 and a 9 out of 10. He's definitely good. He's still in stores. I got this guy in stores, and I highly recommend picking him up if you have the money, or if you like him, or if I convinced you to buy him. But I really do like him. And so do I think you should get him? I definitely do think you should get him. So